Welcome to the cave. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Exciting times, my friend. You got a new project coming out on Hallmark, December 7th, Rescuing Christmas with Rachel E. Cook. That's got to be an exciting time.
Yeah, big time. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed, as they say, as much as we had fun making it, right? Chris, it is my first Christmas feature, and there's a lot of fun that happens on set with these type of movies. So I'm really excited for the world to see it.
It's amazing. We're gonna jump into it more a little bit in a few minutes, actually. But first, like one of the first things I like to start off with is, like everybody has a journey to the entertainment industry. I was doing some research on you. You went all over the place, mechanical engineering, right into acting. Tell us a little bit about that. What made you change all this and get into this world?
Man, so look, man, at the end of the day, if we go back to my roots, I was born in London and I was raised between Lebanon and Ghana, West Africa.
Yeah.
So essentially, I came here as an international student on a student visa to the University of Minnesota. I've always wanted to act. I've always been, in school, I was doing theater ever since at a young age, since primary school over in Ghana. And then when I transitioned to Lebanon, I always kept finding myself at the drama clubs in the school plays and whatnot. And it wasn't until my last 2 years of high school, I got cast as the lead in the school plays. And I did a very good job. And that's when I realized this is actually a skill set that I have, which is fun and cool. But
Yeah.
then my drama teacher was the one that told me you should actually consider this.
Mhm.
Um, don't let it go away. So when I found myself in the US, this was back in '06. Uh, it's interesting because the majors that will allow you to stay in the US are
Yeah.
your engineering majors, doctorate degrees, etc. The sort of the difficult majors, if you may,
Right.
right? And then I was a naive kid. I came to America and I'm thinking I'm gonna pursue film and all this, but then I realized Hollywood, LA is on the other side of the country. You know what I mean? Because to me, in my mind, it's like I'm coming to America.
Yeah.
I don't really know the difference, right? But I found myself in the Midwest. It was one of the top 10 research schools. So my whole plan was let me just get a degree, let me find a job, let me stay in the country, let me get my parents off my back, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I majored in engineering, graduated, got a job, and I started in Minneapolis doing commercials.
Okay.
And funny story, the way I had my first commercial is, right when I started the job, I started working at a consulting company. But the way it worked out is they hired me for a specific client, but then that project, the client, I guess, decided they didn't want to do the work anymore. So I was just a resource on the bench. And in the consulting space, when you're on the bench, that means that you're not serving any clients. You're using this time to study, to research, to develop yourself, whatever. And at that point in time, the company was going through a rebranding phase, and this was in 2011. The company was going through a rebranding phase, and I remember they told me like, yeah, we're doing this rebranding. There's a casting director. They're looking for actors and talent. And I remember my manager was like, "You got a pretty face. Go to the casting, see what happens." Right. And I remember I walk into the cast. It was my first ever. It would turn out to be an audition. It's my first ever audition professionally. I get in, I take some pictures, I smile, and then the casting director asks me like, "Who are you with? Like, what agency are you with?" Like, I don't have an agency. And she's like, "How do you find out about this?" It's like, "Oh, I work for the company, your client." And then she said, "Are you interested in doing this stuff?" And I said, "Yeah." And then she put me in contact with more creative talent, and that's a talent agency in Minneapolis. And it was just a meeting, a face-to-face meeting. They signed me, and since 2011, I've been with them. And I've been auditioning with them for commercials and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you won't believe this, but they're the ones that got me this Christmas movie because it
Oh
was
wow.
shot. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like a big everything goes right in there.
Yeah, unbelievable. And it's like, and they said, I came in as local talent, but
Yeah.
the whole crew is from LA. Everybody's from LA. And, I've obviously been working in LA for a while. And it just happened to work out, perfectly.
It's
And
amazing.
yeah, so I've been with them since. I'm still with them today. But after doing the whole, targets, your Best Buy, I built up a nice commercial portfolio. I moved to LA in 2014, to do more serious film and television projects. Um, yeah, and that's how I ended up in LA.
That's amazing. You mentioned making your parents happy. How did that conversation go when you told them that you're taking the other route, you're going towards the acting world?
Look, man, the two things, right? The first thing is when I showed him a check for one of my first projects, right?
Yeah.
It was it was a nice, couple $1,000 check.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, this is actually real. Cool. Right. So it's like kind of eased them into it. And then I remember the next one, I actually booked a nice campaign. It was for a company called Walzer. And then, they had my face on billboards, on vans. There's still a couple of vans going on today. You know what I
Mm.
mean? But I remember my parents were visiting from overseas and I'm driving with my dad. And then I'm on the phone. And as I'm driving, I just tell him, like, "Hey, look up." And he looks up and he sees my face on this big billboard. And then it was at that moment, he's like, that's my son. And then he knew, like, this is real. This is not a joke. You know what I mean? So
That's awesome.
I think that's how I won him over back
That's
then.
awesome. Amazing.
Yeah.
So like throughout your, your journey into the industry and everything, what do you feel like is your biggest accomplishment so far?
Uh that that's a great question. That's a great question because I'm personally very hard on myself. I don't know if it's the immigrant mentality, but I have to keep reminding myself from time to time again, like, have some grace, take it easy.
Mm,
Uh, I have to tell myself, like, you are living the dream,
right.
right? And to me, the quote unquote dream is I'm getting to audition for big projects, right? Series regular roles,
Yeah.
Netflix movies. I mean, I did a movie with Rennie Harlan, the director of Die Hard, right? Die Hard 2. I've worked with, like, I've been in rooms with some very talented people that I grew up watching, like, like Pierce Brosnan, Paul Ben Victor from Entourage. I've worked closely with him. So it's just a matter of, like, I've worked with these people that I've watched growing up. I have to consistently remind myself that I'm living it right now,
Mm,
right? So in terms of, I don't want to say there's not one big specific project
yeah.
that I want to say, oh, it's the highlight of my career, but it's just a matter of just being in this position and being in those rooms and having these conversations and being able to collaborate with some pioneers in the industry. I think that itself is an achievement. So I think just being on this journey itself is the biggest achievement, making things happen.
Right. So you've done commercials, you've done TV. What's the goal? What do you want to
Uh,
nail on the list there?
I the goal is to be international.
Mm,
Okay, I want to be able, because I'm a very family oriented person, right? I never forget the sacrifices my parents have made
right.
to get me to this position. And my parents, they live overseas right now. And like right now I'm getting older, and the decisions that I make now, I have to think about my family in addition to just myself. So you asked me what is the ultimate goal. Honestly, man, the ultimate goal is for me to work on projects internationally as well as in the US, so that, for example, I can call my mom and be like, yo, mom, I'm coming home for the weekend, like Thursday to Sunday. I'm
Yeah.
coming home to hang out with you, and then I'll go back to set wherever I'm filming. So essentially, it's to expand that reach and just work on an international level, right? And
Mm,
just use my diverse background to my advantage. The fact that I speak multiple languages to my advantage. That is the ultimate goal now, is to just reach internationally.
it's awesome. I love it. I love how your family worked. I'm the same way because you say immigrant, I think of myself. I'm from Greece.
I saw that. Yeah, yeah. So you
So
kind of get
so for
where I'm
me,
coming from, right?
whatever you're saying, it's like, oh my God, like we're living almost like similar life of the way you talk about family.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same way. You want to make them happy, but you also want to make yourself happy too.
It's, yeah, man. And like, with, I don't know how long you've been away from your family, or if they live with you, but I've been away since, like I said, I moved to the US in '06.
Mm,
That's a long time, man. I mean, I see my parents, on
yeah.
holidays, on occasions, but I'm just realizing, like, all right, we got to change this up. I can't keep doing this holiday occasion thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I do want to spend more time and be present. And at this point, like, I'm doing what I set out to do, and I'm living the life that I've always wanted to. So now it's a
Mm,
matter of how can I just bridge these two worlds together, right? That's the
yeah.
goal.
It's awesome. So yeah, let's jump into to your latest project now, Rescuing Christmas.
Yeah.
First of all, what do you think is the love for Hallmark and these Christmas movies during this time of the year? Because like they're on 24 hours a day. all the way till January. What do you think
Yeah.
is like the what do people love about these movies?
E- Look, last night I myself put a Christmas movie on,
Yeah.
right? And because I'm right now I'm physically in Minneapolis. I came here
Okay.
for Thanksgiving. I heated up a nice Jack's pizza, right? These are pizzas that you get from like the grocery store or
Yeah.
gas stations, right? Now, I used to eat these back in the day when I was in college, right? So I heated up a cheese pizza. I made a hot chocolate and I put on a Christmas movie. And you know what? Why? Because number one, they just make you feel good,
Yeah.
right? They make you because it always takes you through this emotions of appreciation for family, appreciation for love, right? It just makes you feel good, man, right? And I think the world needs it right now,
Yeah.
right? We need it more than ever. We need as much positive content to make you want to pick up the phone and text your friends and like, hey, what are you doing, right? Or just text your mom like, hey, mom, I'm thinking about you. I miss, like you just want these. I feel like these projects trigger these positive outcomes and actions that people take. I think that's why they're great. They may just make you feel good.
What was your experience on this set and filming something like this?
I learned how amazing of a job these crew are able to do when it comes to creating like fake snow, creating that winter environment. They did such a good job to a point where I remember the first day when I was stepping out on set to film, the very first day, on the floor, they had it look like there was ice and snow and all that. And I was literally tiptoeing, afraid that I'm gonna slip. And it's like, oh shit, there's no snow, it's all fake. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wow, like they actually tricked me, right? So um I don't know, like I guess set design, right? Set design is huge for these Christmas movies, and then it hits me like I'm pretty sure these guys don't film in the middle of winter and Christmas. They don't. They just don't, right?
Yeah.
So that was a cool thing that I learned. And the second thing was, um, especially with this project, I mean, our director, she literally, I mean, just play around, right? It was a feel good environment. Um, Emily was like, whatever you want to try, go ahead and try it. I want you to have fun with this. And it was very easy going. I really love that. Like you can set like the spirit of the set can be reflected on the screen. I hope. Because to me it was just a lot of fun.
And these type of movies, they get filmed pretty fast too, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, we are working late hours, I remember, all through the night, and everybody was just pushing and pushing. And yeah, you can definitely pump out a lot in a small amount of time.
Mm. So we see you as Archie. What was the description you were given for this character?
So Archie is he's a photographer who is self-absorbed. He's selfish, doesn't think about anybody but himself. He loves himself too much. And he plays, the main character's ex-boyfriend, and he's trying to get back in the picture. So to me, I looked at it and I just channeled back to the days when I was very single and I had no responsibilities, and all I cared about was me, myself, my career, right? Because I went through that phase in life, right? Because I had a lot
Yeah.
of pressure. I needed to perform. Everything was around me. So I said, let me just take it back to that point in time, and it was great. It was fun. I mean, the guy's unhinged, man. So I get to do whatever I want. That was fun.
And it was nice that you said that she gave you pretty much freedom with this character too.
Yeah, yeah. And when somebody gives me freedom, uh, I will take it. You're
Mm.
right. So they put cookies in front of me. I tore up those cookies. You put and like in other previous films that I've done, when I see food around me, I'm not afraid to go all in.
Uh,
So I love the freedom aspect of it.
any challenges playing this character or any like ideas that you shot like I want to switch something a little bit from him, do have him do something else?
Yeah, yeah, because when you accept, it's not a challenge, but when you accept that, like
Yeah.
let's keep trying different things, eventually it's like you gotta find out different motivations for you to produce something different on screen because you don't want to repeat yourself, right? So
Yeah.
the more takes we do, the more I find myself, all right, like what do I do now? What can I like? How can I spin this now? So eventually that becomes challenging. You need to have good improv skills, um, to be able to maintain that, the freshness of each
Right,
scene.
right. So
Yeah.
you mentioned you play the ex-boyfriend for Rachel Lee Cook's character. How do you describe the chemistry between you two and between these two characters?
Um, so between the characters, so Archie's like he's a people person, right? He
Mm,
knows how to get his way through his smile, through the words that he says and how he speaks to people. He's very good at winning people over,
mm.
right? And I mean that's what he does. But then eventually, Rachel's character, she comes to her senses, and there's a reason this guy is an ex, right? So I don't want to ruin. I don't want to
Right,
ruin
yeah,
it.
no spoilers, yeah.
Yeah, but but Archie is the type of person that will get whatever he wants, through whatever types of manipulation, through his charm and wit, and yeah. So it's easy for him to bring people back in.
Yeah. Now for this
Yeah.
film and everything, what are you hoping for like the audience remembers about your performance in this, do you think?
I just want to I just want to laugh. I
Yeah.
just want to laugh. I want them to have a good time. I just want them to just shake their heads and be like, "Oh my God, this guy." That's what I want, you know? So I really hope they do enjoy that. It's like I said, man, it's a fun film. It was a good time.
That's amazing. I mean, especially when like when I was reading the description of the film, it pretty much is like she's wishing like Christmas is pretty much gone.
Yeah, yeah. So that's yeah, so her character, she's no longer a fan of Christmas. And then, this is public information.
Yeah.
Santa wants to grant a wish to one human being, and she happens to be that person, and she wishes for Christmas to disappear.
Mm.
And it happens, right? So, and that's why the film is called Rescuing Christmas. How are we gonna get Christmas back?
Right, right. So you mentioned you watched last night a Christmas movie. Which one was that? I gotta put you on the spot.
It was Will Packer's film. It's called Almost Christmas.
Okay.
I think it's called Almost Christmas. It has Danny Glover. I think his name is Jesse Usher Jesse, one of them, and Gabrielle Union. It was a very JB Smoove. I like it
Mm.
from Curb Your Enthusiasm. It was a great fun cast, and that was the movie. And Monique, whew, there's a scene. I don't know if you watched Monique, but there's a scene of Monique and JB Smoove, and these guys are both incredible improv actors, right? So just seeing them going head to head like that was very fun to watch.
Now, is there a specific Christmas movie that you always put on every year? You have to watch at least once or twice.
Yeah, it's Best Man Holiday.
I never heard of
Best
that one.
Best Man Holiday. Yeah, that one has Morris Chestnut. Um uh what's his name? Oh my God, he's an All-American. Why am I blanking? I'm blanking. Look, I can't believe I forgot his
It's
name,
all
but I'm
right.
blanking.
So
But
Best
yeah,
Man
but no,
Holiday. We'll have to look
Best
it
Man,
up.
it's the best man. I mean, Best Man, it's like it's a franchise, right? They did the first one, I think, either in the 80s or early 90s, but then they came back and did another one called Best Man Holidays, this past decade, I believe. And then they came out with another series last
Mm.
year. So it's like a franchise, and I've watched them, and I've seen how these people's, each and every individual of them, their careers has grown. So it's always nice to kind of go back and watch them when they were younger and stuff. So,
Awesome.
but
So
yeah,
we
that is
have
my favorite
there you
Christmas
go.
movie.
So we have Rescuing Christmas, December 7th. What other projects are you allowed to talk about that you got coming up? Anything?
I mean, I've got a project called Dope Queens. That's a movie we did in San Francisco. It's about, I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, that's another one. I'm just waiting on the release date for that. And I'm also
Yeah.
working on two shorts right now as well. One's called Montu, one's called Mobius Loop. These are two projects that are currently in production, that I'm working on. So it's good, man. And the strike ended, and the phone
Right.
the phone started ringing, 1 2 days after, and we just got busy. So that's really cool.
It's amazing.
Like I
I mean,
said, yeah,
that's
like
it.
I was saying, man, just great fun. I'm living it, right? So it's every day when I remind myself of that, I was like, thank you, God.
That's all that matters. I mean, lastly, how can the listeners and viewers now find you on social media to keep up with you?
Yeah, it's Ahmed Mawas official. So Ahmed Ahmed Mawas official on
And that's
Instagram. Yeah.
every Instagram.
Instagram, yep. Instagram and Facebook.
That's amazing. I mean, I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today. This was great, and let's get you back on with future projects.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.